Welcome back to Auto Reviews. Today we are stepping into a different arena of machines, not cars, not motorcycles, but one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, the American F-22 Raptor. This aircraft has been a symbol of U.S. air dominance for decades, and even in 2026 it continues to command respect, fascination, and sometimes controversy. Many people know it is the first operational fifth-generation stealth fighter, but the reality of its design, its performance, and its cost is far more complex than what we usually hear in quick news clips. So let's dive into a full review of the F-22, its technology, its operational role today, and what kind of financial figures are attached to owning and maintaining such a machine. The F-22 Raptor entered service officially in 2005, after years of development under the Advanced Tactical Fighter program. At the time, it represented a revolution in aerial warfare. It combined stealth, supercruise, agility, and advanced avionics in a way no other fighter had done before. In 2026, it still holds a unique position because despite newer aircraft like the F-35 Lightning II or the emerging sixth-generation programs, the F-22 remains the aircraft that set the gold standard for what air dominance truly means. Its shape, with those sharp edges, diamond-like wings, and canted tail fins, is instantly recognizable. But beyond its look, the secret of the Raptor lies in how it flies and how hard it is to detect. Let's talk about performance. The F-22 can fly at speeds exceeding Mach 2, but more importantly, it can cruise at supersonic speeds without afterburners. This ability, known as supercruise, allows it to travel faster than sound for long durations without guzzling fuel at the extreme rate afterburners usually require. That means it can cover large distances quickly and position itself strategically without giving away its position through the bright heat signature of afterburners. In a modern battlefield where stealth and surprise matter more than raw top speed, this is a decisive advantage. The thrust vectoring nozzles on the twin Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines give the jet super agility. Unlike conventional fighters, the Raptor can pitch, yaw, and roll in ways that look almost impossible. At airshows, you see it doing maneuvers like the Cobra, flips, and controlled flat spins that would send most other jets tumbling out of control. In a combat scenario, that agility means the Raptor can outmaneuver opponents, point its nose where it wants, and bring weapons to bear quicker than its adversaries. Combine that with stealth, and you have a jet that is often unseen until it has already launched its missiles. Now, stealth itself is another key point. The F-22 was designed from the ground up to minimize radar cross-section. The shape of the airframe, the coating materials, and even the way weapons are stored internally rather than on external pylons all reduce the ability of radar to detect and track the aircraft. In 2026, radar and sensor technology has advanced globally, with adversary nations fielding better detection systems. Yet, the Raptor still maintains a huge advantage. While it might not be completely invisible to every cutting-edge radar in existence, it is extremely difficult to track, and the time it takes for an opponent to detect, identify, and lock on is often too long to stop it from striking first. Avionics and sensors inside the F-22 are still state-of-the-art. The cockpit is built around situational awareness, giving the pilot data fused from multiple sources, displayed on large multifunction screens and a head-up display. The radar, the AN/APG-77 AESA radar, remains one of the most advanced in the world, with the ability to detect and track targets at long ranges, while also operating in a way that is harder to detect by enemy radar warning systems. Communication systems, electronic warfare capabilities, and sensor fusion make the pilot far more capable of making split-second decisions. In many ways, the Raptor is not just about speed or stealth, but about information dominance, seeing first, deciding first, and striking first. But no discussion of the F-22 is complete without addressing cost. When it was first produced, the price tag shocked many people. Depending on how you calculate, the flyaway cost per unit was often quoted between $150 and $200 million US, but when you factor in the entire development program and maintenance, some estimates went as high as $350 million per aircraft. In 2026, no new F-22s are being built. Production officially ended in 2012 after just 187 operational aircraft were delivered. That means the price of an F-22 today is not about buying one off a factory line but about sustaining, upgrading, and modernizing the fleet that already exists. The operating cost of an F-22 is extremely high. Estimates put it around $70,000 to $80,000 per flight hour, sometimes even more depending on what sources you consult. That means every single training mission or combat sortie comes at a staggering financial cost. Maintenance is also intense because stealth coatings and specialized systems require careful handling. Still, the United States Air Force considers it worth the expense because the Raptor provides a capability that no other jet fully matches. By 2026, the US has shifted a lot of focus to the F-35 program and to next-generation air dominance projects. The F-22 remains a relatively small fleet, elite in its use, mostly dedicated to air superiority missions where absolute control of the skies is necessary. It doesn't do the strike missions or the multi-role flexibility that the F-35 does. Instead, it is the tip of the spear for air dominance. Think of it as the heavyweight champion that clears the skies so other assets can operate freely. There have been upgrades. Over the years, the F-22 has received better sensors, modernized avionics, improved communication systems that allow it to network more effectively with other platforms, and software upgrades to carry newer weapons. This has kept it relevant even as threats evolve. In fact, part of the discussion around the Raptor today is whether the US should have kept the production line alive. Many argue that the decision to stop at under 200 aircraft was a mistake, leaving the Air Force with too few air superiority fighters at a time when peer adversaries are developing advanced jets of their own. Looking at the global picture in 2026, competitors like China's J-20 and Russia's Su-57 are often brought up in comparison. Both are fifth-generation aircraft in their own right, designed with stealth and advanced avionics. Yet, analysts often point out that the F-22 still holds advantages in maneuverability, stealth integration, and combat-tested readiness. The J-20 has made big strides, and the Su-57 shows potential, but neither is produced or fielded at the scale or maturity of the F-22. In other words, the Raptor, though no longer new, continues to be a benchmark against which other fighters are measured. From a civilian perspective, when people hear about cost and performance, they often ask, is it really worth it? After all, an aircraft that costs hundreds of millions and tens of thousands per hour to operate doesn't sound practical. The answer depends on how you value air dominance. For the US military, having an aircraft that ensures superiority in the sky translates directly into strategic advantage, both in deterrence and in combat. The cost is justified not in dollars alone but in what it prevents: losses of other aircraft, loss of ground troops, or even escalation of conflicts where adversaries might otherwise think they could challenge US forces. Let's also consider the pilot's perspective. Flying an F-22 is not like flying any other fighter. Pilots describe it as having unmatched situational awareness, where the aircraft feels like an extension of themselves. The agility, the power, the stealth, all of it combines to create confidence that they can enter a hostile environment and come out on top. That kind of psychological advantage is part of the aircraft's value too. So, what about the future? In 2026, the US is already working on the next-generation air dominance program, which is expected to eventually replace the F-22. This new platform will likely include unmanned teaming, advanced artificial intelligence, and even greater stealth. But until that aircraft arrives, the F-22 remains the backbone of US air superiority. It may be expensive, it may be limited in numbers, but it continues to serve as a guardian of the skies. If we try to put a number on its value today, in terms of what it would cost to build new ones, the estimates vary. Some suggest it would now exceed $250 million per jet just to restart production. For maintenance and upgrades of the existing fleet, billions are budgeted each year to keep the Raptors at the cutting edge. For taxpayers, those numbers sound overwhelming. But for the Air Force, it is an investment in ensuring that no adversary can challenge American dominance in the air. The legacy of the F-22 is already secure. It showed the world what a true fifth-generation fighter looked like before anyone else had one. It forced other nations to rethink their air strategies. And in 2026, it still holds the skies as a machine that combines speed, stealth, agility, and advanced technology in a way that has never been fully matched. So when you hear about the F-22 Raptor, don't just think of it as an expensive piece of military hardware. Think of it as a symbol of technological ambition, of what happens when a nation decides to build the absolute best fighter jet possible without compromise. That decision came with costs, both financial and political, but it also delivered a capability that continues to define the balance of power in the skies even decades later. And that brings us to the end of our review. The F-22 Raptor in 2026 remains one of the most powerful fighter jets in existence. It is fast, stealthy, lethal, and extremely costly, but its role in safeguarding American air superiority is unmatched. Whether you see it as an engineering marvel, a strategic necessity, or a budgetary burden, the Raptor is without question one of the most fascinating machines ever built. Thanks for watching Auto Reviews, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation technology, make sure to stay tuned for more content where we explore not only cars but also the most advanced machines shaping our world today.